Hey everyone, so I am back on here. So excited to continue releasing videos here on Transform Your Life, where I teach you guys how to heal mental, emotional, and physical dis-ease by talking about what's happening from a disordered state in our society on a large scale level, all the way down to a microcosmic level, a small scale level. And I teach you how to step by step pivot and take steps out of the dysfunction in our society, in your interpersonal relationships, all the way up to the ways we have been indoctrinated in our society to also be on the receiving end of narcissistic abuse on a systematic and institutional level. And I teach you how to come into balance, thus reversing the aging process, okay? So in today's video, I want to elaborate more on what I started to share recently about abandonment, and how when you are on the receiving end of extreme forms of narcissistic abuse, I talked about how you will experience many different levels and forms of abandonment depending on the level of severity, because we all fall on a spectrum of severity. So depending on the level of severity you have experienced when it comes to narcissistic abuse, that'll indicate the levels of healing that you will need in order to come into balance. And I wanted to share something in this video that I have been guided to share with my audience when it comes to a narcissistic mentality. And before I go into it, I want to preface and explain a little bit more about what I am describing in this video. I am speaking in terms of the aspect of a narcissistic mentality that is functioning from their conscious self, because we all have aspects of us that are conscious and we all have aspects of us that are subconscious. And in this video, when I'm talking about this pattern of behavior of narcissism, it's really important that we understand that this aspect of narcissism is conscious, and why it's a conscious pattern of behavior, and what the intent and the motivation is behind this pattern of behavior. So in the last couple of videos, I was talking about being left for dead, that a narcissistic mentality functions to leave people for dead. And when they do this on a conscious level, one of the motivating factors is to make the person that they are abandoning in such an extreme, severe way. The motivation is to make them believe and make them feel like they don't matter, like they are not important. And they do this to develop not only deep-seated abandonment wounds inside of you, but also to program within you false beliefs about yourself and ways of thinking that are a detriment to you, okay? Because you can't thrive and be happy if you know the truth about yourself, if you know how wonderful and beautiful you really are. Okay, so a narcissistic mentality functions to distort your perception of yourself and your reality by inflicting these forms of abuse, okay? Sometimes they're very overt. Sometimes they're very subtle. The way that a narcissistic person will show up to make you think that you don't matter and that you're not important. So what is really important that we start to recognize is the intent. The intent. When somebody habitually, repeatedly abandons you in extreme circumstances, it's really important to realize that that's not an accident. That wasn't a mistake. That wasn't a misunderstanding. Because people who truly love and care about you will not leave you for dead, will not see you crying, expressing. You know, I need to pause for a minute and warn my audience. I realized I didn't give my audience a trigger warning for what I was talking about. I'm going to be going into some very intense subject matter in this video. So I'm going to be talking about suicidality, suicidal thoughts, you know. So for those of you that are having a hard day, or this is very triggering to you, I want to warn you before I keep going. So forgive me for not doing that in my other videos. I recognize how important that is to preface my subject matter with a warning. So you guys, I'm being guided right now to share with you more of my story because as I was growing up and around narcissistic mentalities, and I was being treated in the manner that I was, you know, I had been programmed with this traditional psychology way of thinking that the people around me just didn't understand. They just didn't understand. They weren't aware enough of what I was going through. They couldn't see, right? I was programmed to think they couldn't see me. They couldn't see my suffering. And something that has greatly, drastically impacted my quality of life is to actually face what was really happening and become aware of subtle, covert, aggressive tactics towards me by people around me that I truly, deeply loved and that I still love today. But I had to remove myself from it, otherwise I was going to die. Now, let me pause for a minute to tune in to see where I'm guided to go next. So, I remember on my journey, my inner knowing would constantly come up when I was in tears, when I was sobbing, when the people around me were constantly abandoning me, and when I would express my suicidality, that I wanted to end my life because I was in such excruciating pain. And the people around me would not even hold space for me. And, you know, even just ask me if I was okay. They weren't there to do that. And in the midst of my sobbing, my inner knowing, my inner child came up, and I would sob These people don't care if I'm dead or alive. These people don't care if I'm dead or alive. But I was trauma bonded, so even though my inner knowing was coming up, it took me many, many years to realize what was going on. It took me studying from leading psychologists in their field when it comes to manipulation, when it comes to narcissism, so that I could make connections, so that I could remove myself, extract myself out of this unsafe and unsupportive environment that was functioning to make me feel like I don't see you, I don't hear you, you don't matter. And I'm here to tell you, if this is happening habitually to you, okay, this is consistently happening to you by the people around you, that they are not emotionally supportive of you, or they don't do the work to step into an energy where they are able to do that, if they don't care enough to do that for you, one, it's intentional. Two, you are worthy of being around people who do that work emotionally, psychologically, to be able to show up for you and show you that you matter. Not only do you matter, okay, because that's a baseline, okay? We all, those of us who are showing up in the world as to not harm other people, we all matter. Your existence matters. And what I kept being told to share in this video is that if people around you are, I'm going to repeat it again because this is so important to grasp. And I keep getting the visual of when I had fallen to my knees on my front porch because I was in such agony. I was doubled over in such severe, excruciating pain and suicidality from being on the receiving end of severe forms of abuse and abandonment for so long that I was doubled over on my knees in pain, crying. I had expressed several times to the people around me that I was extremely suicidal. They knew what that meant. Okay, so don't let narcissistic people fool you into thinking, oh, that there was a misunderstanding. I really didn't know what you meant by that, okay? When you are expressive and you're sobbing and you need somebody, and they look at you and they just leave you and they walk past you. The family members that did this to me, they walked past me and they went to church right after. And they sat in a pew, but they couldn't come and sit next to me and give me a hug and tell me, oh my gosh, Cassie, I see you're in sobs right now. Are you okay? If you are experiencing repeated habitual action on the receiving end of actions like that, where the outcome is you feeling like, oh my gosh, no one cares about me around me, that's what's happening. And they are doing it to make you feel like you don't matter. Again, it's a programming. It's a way that they work to get you out of your inner knowing that you do matter. Because as children, as babies, when we're first born, we don't have all these, false beliefs about ourselves that we don't matter and that we're not important. These are concepts that are programmed into us by the people around us. And absolutely, there are aspects to so many patterns of behavior that are unconscious. This is so true. But right now, I'm talking about those of you that know what it's like to be left for dead over and over and over again. And the point in me sharing this with you is to tell you that you do matter. Your life matters so much, and that I want you to love yourself enough to realize I need to get away from these people who are not showing me, who are showing me over and over and over again that I don't matter to them. Okay? Now, this can be really, really extremely painful and frightening and terrifying to face. And once again, we're all in this journey together. I'm here with you on this journey of facing these really, really harsh, hard truths to face. And if we can practice surrender, okay? Because traditional psychology will teach you radical acceptance. And dialectical behavioral therapy will teach you radical acceptance. Radical acceptance is appropriate for patterns of behavior that are unconscious. Surrender is appropriate for patterns of behavior when you are facing patterns of behavior that are conscious, and patterns of behavior that are intended to harm you. So let me go deeper with that. Let me expand more upon that. If I radically accept that the people around me are intentionally hurting me, I've been socialized to receive that, subconsciously receive that over and over again, and enable it by not holding people accountable because, they just must not understand what they're doing. They must not see what they're doing. So when I say, I encourage you to surrender to this hell around you, what that allows you to do is to energetically step back, work it. As you practice it, you're energetically letting go and releasing yourself. Once you see it for what it is, you can release yourself from this constant trying to figure out, what's going on, why why are these people doing this to me? I don't understand. Do they not see it? Are they not aware enough? No, they are. They see what's happening, okay? And in this specific context that I've described, it's intentional. It's intentional. So that's why surrender is important, because here on Transform Your Life, we do not accept things that we can change and transform, right? That's the beauty of surrender. Because when you surrender, you can step back and start to pivot out and away from the abusive people around you. And you can slowly unravel those layers so that you, by questioning what's going on, by questioning the intent of the people around you. And when I say that, I'm not talking about spending all this time trying to figure out the intentions of the people around you, because at the end of the day, even if it is unconscious, it's not okay. It's not okay. So we have to surrender. We have to remove ourselves. And once we surrender to, okay, this keeps happening, and I need to remove myself because these people are not changing. And what I can do is step into my more expansive energy, to step and move into the direction of knowing, you know what? No, I matter. If these people think that I don't matter, or they want to make me believe that I don't because they see how amazing I am, so they want me to believe that I'm not amazing and that I don't matter so that I can stay on their level with them. Okay, that's what they want. A narcissistic mentality functions to cause you to be in such a state where you can't be successful, to influence you, to influence you in such a way where you stay stuck. You stay stuck where you are and you feel like, oh, I just have to accept things the way that they are. No, you don't. And you can actually heal and transform anything you want. Anything you want. And a narcissistic mentality functions to make you believe, that that's not possible. So again, what I want to close with is that you matter. You matter so much more than you realize right now, because everyone around you is showing up to program you with the belief that you are not important, that you are not a priority, that you are going to be put on the back burner. And if you want help stepping into an empowered space, an empowered energy of self-love and hopeful, optimistic energy, transformative energy, that you realize, like, I don't have to accept this anymore. Oh my gosh, I can step into this energy of surrender. If you want help doing that and learning how to heal and transform your life circumstances and come into balance, thus over time reversing the aging process as we step away from these narcissistic mentalities and we remove the narcissism and codependency inside ourselves. If you want help doing that, thus reversing the aging process, I am now offering one-on-one facilitation calls for those of you who are serious about and committed to transforming your life. I will leave my email in the description box below, and something that so that you can contact me if you would like to work one-on-one with me. Something that I was encouraged to share at this point in time, where I have such a small following at the moment, is that in the near future, when people realize and recognize that what I'm saying holds a lot of value to what I am saying, my demand and my price to work with me is gonna go up big time, okay? So I wouldn't wait. I would not wait if you're, sitting on the fence when it comes to working with people like me. And if you're on the fence about working with me specifically, but you have the privilege of doing so, this is just a word of, I'm giving you a healthy push right now, because if you are seeing this video, this is not by accident, and there's only one of me who has this unique perspective and understanding and awareness that I do, where I'm able to see such nuanced aspects of our society in so many different ways that are keeping us sick. And so the more that people find out about what I do, the more in demand that my services become, the harder it is going to be able to work with me one-on-one. So now is the perfect time. Now is the perfect time to reach out and, have the courage to step into that empowered state where you realize that you do matter. I'm also here to tell you, as a woman who has invested a lot in myself with therapists and mentors and personal development coaches, when it comes to a monetary investment, okay? This is one of the ways that I self-loved myself to where I am today, is that I realized that I was worthy of investing money in myself to pay other people who I needed at that time to help get me to the next level. Mentors, coaches, and therapists that I worked one-on-one with, that I needed at that point in my journey to get to where I am today. So this is everything that I want to share with you guys. Again, I'm going to leave my contact information in the description box below. If you feel so called to work with me one-on-one, I would love to work with you. I am very confident in saying I am the best in the world at what I do, okay? I am the best in the world at what I do, and I guarantee you transformational results and shifts that you will start noticing in nuanced ways right away. I guarantee that when you work with me, you will feel a healing energy that is very unique, that is very hard to come by, that is a supportive energy, because we need support as survivors of narcissistic abuse, because we're coming out of relationship dynamics where we did not receive that emotional support. So I am here to do that for you, as I give you the tools in order to heal and transform. So, okay, you guys, that's what I have to share with you. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. For those of you who are serious about working with me one-on-one, I look forward to receiving an email from you, and have a beautiful day.